Hello, welcome, we're live, and that means Thursday, 3 p.m. London, 10 a.m. Eastern, and it's me, Phil Morse, here in the Digital DJ Tips studio. Now, we've been having our usual beginning of the school year revamp. The studio has had a brush of tech goodness. We now have a full Pioneer DJ setup actually here in the studio for the first time ever. The camera is not quite above it yet, which is going to be the next thing that gets fitted. But this is all very exciting. And I've got more gear around me than ever before. So I can jump in and grab things in a way that was becoming hard as the last year or two wore on. So we've been making some changes here. How about you? Have you been making any changes to your DJing setup? Let us know in the comments, because that is what today is all about. This is our Thursday Q&A live, which means there ain't no agenda. It's just over to you, whatever you want to talk about. I'm here for the next hour as the chief tutor here at Digital DJ Tips, the world's leading DJ school and the people behind Rock the Dance Floor, the #1 book on Amazon on how to DJ. And so we're here to help. That's what this hour is all about. There's no teaching, no agenda. It's just me live answering queries and questions coming in from you guys and girls on YouTube, Twitch and Facebook. They all come through to my main screen here, which you can see them all piling in there, all the comments coming in live for me to chat to you guys and girls via. So hello to Thomas, who says, "Hi Phil, you're still teasing people with gear. Now even with a full setup, please tell us when the prices for this gear will somewhat stabilise. The market is empty. Thomann even removed the Prime 4 from the store." It's a very, very good point you make there. There is a real shortage of DJ gear at the moment. Not only DJ gear, as I'm sure you know, but pretty much all kinds of stuff is harder to get than ever before. There are supply issues, there's the hangover from COVID, there's the world supply and political issues based around the Ukraine war in Europe. And so the times of us being able to get everything that we want when we want it, I think are well and truly gone for the foreseeable future. You know, when it comes to DJing, I think this is a double-edged thing. Yes, we'd all like to get the latest gear, and yes, I can kind of glibly say, hey, we've got all the latest gear here, but you know, we have to, we're a school. You might have that, you might have that, you might have that. I need to have it all to teach you. But really, as long as what you are DJing on has got two independent controls that you can speed up and slow down, and has got start and stop buttons for them, and it's got the ability to mix between those two things, preferably with some kind of EQ as well, but not necessarily, and the ability to both monitor on headphones and play out through speakers. As long as what you've got to DJ with has got those things, then you're good to go. You can learn DJing, just like you can learn to take photos on this or on, you know, $5,000 worth of cameras like I've got around me here. It's not the equipment, it's what you do with it that counts. So back in the day, we used to DJ on 2 Technics turntables and a very standard mixer. Here's my mixer from back in the day. Now this is not a flash mixer, right? Plug 2 turntables into here, and that's all we had. And that's all we used for, well, certainly the first 15 years of my DJing career. It was only recently that gear has become a thing. So yes, gear is important. Yes, you should buy gear. Yes, you should master your gear, but it's not what DJing's about. And good gear isn't going to make you a good DJ. You can be a boring DJ on great gear. So yes, it's a bit annoying when we can't buy exactly what we want, but in a way it could be a blessing. In a way it could be reminding us this is an art form. It's not an excuse for consumerism. And the art side of it can be learned on pretty much anything. Anyway, Thomas, thank you for that. And by the way, I do hope that the Prime 4 comes back in stock and you can buy it very soon. Don't get me wrong. Right, we are live, and that means I'm just chatting to you guys and girls for the whole hour. It's better if you're on Facebook, and the only reason for that is that your questions remain there afterwards. So anything you ask, if we can't get around to it, which is going to be invariably the case, it will be able to be dealt with by me or the team afterwards, which doesn't happen on YouTube and obviously doesn't happen on Twitch because there's no recording. Another little bit of housekeeping, please do keep calm. No histrionics here. We're not a drama organisation, and only ask your question once. Because if you ask your question and cut and paste it over and over again, 2 things will happen. You will be clogging up the comments for people who are just as worthy as you to ask a question, but also I'll just ignore it. As soon as I see something twice, I won't answer it, so you don't win. So please only ask your question once. Right, let's get a few early hellos out of the way then. A few shout outs to some of our regulars here. Hi to Carlo, GM, Ajoy, Joe Syke, says good to be here. To Sarah in sunny Barnsley, hello Sarah. Mr. Dubs rather, DJ Lenzo, Brooke, Omar, to Papa D in Miami, of course, as ever, Florida, hot, humid and threatening to rain. Isn't it always hot, humid and threatening to rain in Miami, Papa D? Hello to Brooke in East Sussex. Robin's loving the opening music. Yeah, a bit of Dreamwave, man. We like it too. And it's cold in Alberta in Canada, says Keith. And good afternoon from a windy but sunny Netherlands, says Robert. I don't know a Dutch person who doesn't point out the weather whenever they say hello. So there we go. Right. Angad, here's a question from Angad. Angad says, I have the DDJ SX2 Serato DJ controller. And I'm wondering what is a good controller to upgrade to. My honest reply to you there is you've got a really, really good controller there. The SX2 is one of the best DJ controllers that's ever made. It's still completely relevant and I wouldn't change it for anything, frankly. I'd be very, very happy with that if it were me. The other very good selling controller for Serato is, funnily enough, the one I've got in front of me now. This is the Pioneer DDJ 1000 SRT. This has got a more club layout, right? It's got club jog wheels. It's got a club layout mixer with club effects down here. This is controller-y, but everything else, the looping and so on, is just laid out like a club setup. Your controller, your SX2, is more laid out as in the kind of older controller layout where you've got full control of effects at the top here, and it's not designed to look and feel like club gear. But that said, it's an absolutely fantastic controller, and there's disadvantages and advantages to that. You get far better control over Serato than this one gives you, for instance. So don't think this is a step up, it's just something different. So if it were me, as long as your SX2 is working fine, stick with it. Nothing wrong with it. Hello to Didziko in Latvia. Hello, my friend. Sarah says, I got rid of a rubbish Windows PC and I bought another Mac for streaming my lives on Mixcloud. So well done, Sarah. Hoping that's cool and that works out well for you. They say once you've gone Mac, you never go back. So there we go. Jorge in Portugal says it's always good to hear your fresh news and it's good to see you on the live stream, Jorge. Welcome. To Jan Rasta in Kiev. Hello, my friend. This is for you. You can see it on the other shot. Hello to DJ John T. I'm waiting to get my Denon X1850 Prime mixer. It will be delivered in early October. Yeah, lots of you sharing your woes about getting gear at the moment. You don't like my music says, I'm happy with my setup at the moment. There we go. So lots of you not looking to upgrade, but I deliberately bought a big controller so I could grow into it. Right, this is from Thomas, who says, look, asking about new gear, I fear that Serato will stop supporting old gear. They recently removed the Numark NS6 and many controllers from the upcoming updates. And my NS6 II is next in line. Of course, old versions will still work, but it's becoming a problem. Yeah, I mean, it does. But, like the Apple announcement yesterday, right? They've just released new iPhones and new earphones and stuff. Unless yours are starting to become unusable, I would say stick with what you've got. And of course, if it starts to become unusable, 5 years, 10 years have gone by or whatever, then it's time to replace it. But I'd wait till then, to be honest. This is from Carlo. Why did Denon release lots and lots of new features on their equipment and Pioneer does not? An example is key shift on the CDJ 3000 but not on the XDJ RX3. Great question. So the Pioneer DJ gear, like this setup you see here, CDJ 3000s, club mixer. This is standard, right? This is what you find in the best nightclubs. And DJs who are playing on this equipment, they're not interested in that equipment changing. All they want is it to be exactly like that when they turn up to DJ. So Pioneer DJ has got a slower approach to adding new features to its stuff. And Denon DJ hasn't got that baggage, which is a good and a bad thing. So they can upgrade their equipment very, very quickly because it hasn't got that, I don't know, that backflow of DJs who are used to it being exactly as it is and don't want it to change. That said, one thing that's really nice about Denon DJ is whether you're using their most expensive biggest club gear or their smallest gear, which is currently the Prime Go, the little portable DJ controller, you get the same features, apart from one or two little things at the edge. So when they upgrade the software and the firmware and so on, you get the same features, which is really, really cool. Doesn't work like that with Pioneer DJ. I actually called Pioneer DJ out on the XDJ RX3 not having key shift. The ability to move the key up or down by semitone or 2 semitones or whatever. And they said, look, we can't put all the features on the smaller stuff. And I think that's wrong. Certainly with a feature like key shift, which is so normal nowadays, it's just expected. We have something called fuzzy key mixing. By the way, if you don't know about fuzzy key mixing, let me show you. You do need to know about this. We have something called fuzzy key mixing. So head over to the Digital DJ Tips website. I'm teaching you something here, by the way. Click on the little magnifying glass in the top corner and type in whatever you want to know about. In this instance, it's fuzzy key mixing. I'm just going to type in the word fuzzy and click search. And here's all our articles about this. And I want you to click on fuzzy key mixing, the easy new way to mix anything into anything. And if you haven't read this article, go and read it. Now, this is the way that, funnily enough, we were just talking about it, the CDJ3000's key sync button works. The CDJ3000 is clever in that you don't need to do what I describe in this article because it will do it for you when you hit key sync. But if you hit key sync in pretty much any other DJ equipment, it's going to sound quite often absolutely terrible. And the reason for that is that it applies too restrictive a set of rules onto what is likely to mix in key with what else, which means that it might move your track 6 notes up or down. And let me tell you, you move any track in the world 6 notes up or down, it's going to sound either like a very, very baritone singer or a chipmunk. It certainly isn't going to sound like whatever that vocal originally sounded like, for instance. It's terrible. You never want to move a track more than a note or two up or down. And you don't have to. That's the thing. Key mixing has been taught wrong all these years. We've taught it right. Our key mixing course since 2014 has taught it right. But everyone else teaches it wrong. And even the Camelot wheel and mixed in key and all that, they get it wrong. We do it right. Pioneer now does it right. Rekordbox DJ software now does it right. And just recently, and that was another thing that you would have seen here on the Digital DJ Tips website, Algorithms DJ Pro AI now does it right. But most software doesn't. So if you are a Serato user or a Traktor user and you want to know how to do this, then go and look at that article. Go and search fuzzy key mixing. It'll basically let you mix anything into anything in key, which is pretty cool. But I did call out Pioneer DJ about that and said to them, why? Why have you left this off? It's 2021. And they're like, oh, well, you know. So I agree with you. But the bigger picture there is Pioneer DJ, especially with its pro gear, it doesn't innovate very quickly for a reason. And that reason is it's got to bring all its pro DJs that rely on its gear and don't care about DJ gear. You know, one thing you notice is amateurs care a lot about DJ gear. But imagine this was a graph. As you get more professional, what the gear has to do for you becomes less and less important, and what you do for your audiences and the music you've got is what brings you there. You just want the gear to do what it's always done. So anyway, I hope that kind of gives you some insight in that question there. We're live, by the way, people, so if you want to ask a question, I've got them all popping up on my screen here. There they all are. Everything you're saying is coming in to me, so I can answer it as we go along. So please do ask, and if you don't get your question answered, we'll get to you in the comments, as long as you've asked it on Facebook very soon. So this is from Robin, who's on YouTube. Robin says, "Hi Phil, I'm wondering if you can touch on loudspeaker management. I have a DBX iRig. Do you recommend upgrading?" Well, I don't know your speakers at all, so I can't recommend upgrading. With loudspeaker management, I mean, there's maintaining your speakers, of course, but I think the thing that most people need to know about speakers is how to set all the volumes right so that it sounds as loud as possible without distorting. It's really very simple how to do that. What you want to do is set every speaker, or every level in the chain as loud as possible without it going into the red. So for instance, if we're on this DJ controller here, I'd start some music playing, which I'm going to turn the master volume down, start some music playing there. I'll set this volume here. So it's on a loud part of the track, but it's not in the red. I'll do the same with the master volume. I'm not going to turn that up because it will blast out what we're doing now, and also probably get us taken off Facebook for copyrighted music. But I'll get this one so it's nearly in the red. Then if you're plugged into a mixer, so you're in a club and you're plugged into a mixer, whatever channel you're plugged into the mixer, you're going to set that so it's nearly in the red. Then you're going to set the output from that, the master output there, so it's nearly in the red. And if you can get to the speakers, you're going to set their output so it's just almost flashing on the red or just doing it very rarely. Now the system is set up as loud as possible without distorting. That's what you've just done. And the rule now is you turn down the volume control that's nearest to the speakers. So obviously if you're using big powered speakers, it's going to be the one on the speakers, but maybe you can't reach that one. You turn down the volume control that's nearest to the speakers that you can reach. So let's say the one you can reach that's nearest to the speakers is the master output on the master mixer. You're going to turn that down until the room volume is right. It's how you want it. And you're going to leave all the other ones set how you set them. And then as the night fills up and as people arrive and as you need to turn the volume up, that's the volume control you're going to use, and you're going to keep everything else as loud as possible without being in the red. And that way you will manage your volume levels really well through, and that works for any PA system. So we've got an article on that as well. And again, why don't I just show you, because look, we've got about 5,000 articles on Digital DJ Tips. If you just click in the top magnifying glass and type gain, not gassing won't get you anything, gain staging, the articles that we have there will pop up and you'll see lots and lots of stuff here to help you with that. So this is fun, isn't it? It's our first full, like, no technical hitches so far, Thursday Q&A of the term. I was back last week and I did a Thursday Q&A and it all kind of went wrong. We still managed the hour, but it all kind of was like, but I've been working in the studio all week and we're back again. We've been doing, as I say, we've been doing a lot of changes in the studio to make it better. It looks a lot neater. What you can't see over there, it's just all a bit zen now. It was looking like a kind of Aladdin's cave, but also a pretty intense place to walk into, which always happens when you work somewhere for a couple of years and don't tidy it up. So I spent a whole day tidying this place up. So I'm pretty pleased, feeling pretty relaxed in here. Right, let's talk less about me and more about you, and let's grab another question. This is the best ever, says Richie. Oh, thank you, Richie. Afternoon, Phil, says Benedict. Nice to see you, Benedict. Always beautiful weather here in Florida, says DJ Magic BB. This is from Patrick, who says, do you prefer the DDJ SRT 1000, which of course is the controller that I have here, or, and the other one that Patrick throws up is the Rev 7, which is the scratch version basically with motorized jog wheels, and instead of having the pitch controls here, they are at the top here, basically in battle layout. By the way, people do ask why sometimes is DJ gear made with that. I mean, I've got the smaller version of it here, the Rev 1. I'll put that there for you. You see? So here we've got the pitch controls at the top here, and the play pause buttons down on the right hand side. Now, funnily enough, if I was to take this and rotate it like this and put it next to here, it's the same, isn't it? We've now got the pitch control there and our play pause button there. And therein lies the clue as to why some scratch controllers, namely the Rev 1 and the Rev 7, are like this. Because scratch DJs take their turntables, a Technics turntable looks like that with a needle like that, and they turn them around 90 degrees. So the needle is there. And that allows them to scratch and play on this whole area, mixer, turntable, with the needle out of the way. Because if you're trying to scratch a turntable and the needle's right here, the arm's right there, you might knock it. And so many years ago, scratch DJs turned their turntables 90 degrees anti-clockwise. And these are the first controllers. This, the Rev 1, which is the cheap one, and the Rev 7, which is the expensive one with motorized jogs and metal build and all that, that actually say, all right, well, that's what scratch DJs like. we're going to make controllers that do that. They're the only two that do it, actually. Which do I prefer? Out of the one I'm looking at, which is similar to also the DDJ 1000, the Rekordbox version, or the Rev 7, I prefer this one. And the reason I prefer this one is very, very simple. I don't have any need myself for motorized jogs that when you hit play, it spins around. Yes, it feels like using turntables. Yes, it's kind of like, feels like a throwback and it's nice. And yes, if you're a scratch DJ, I totally get it. You might want that. But to me, with modern music and with cue points and all that stuff, I haven't needed a spinning turntable for many years. I'm very happy on these. But as I say, scratch DJs and DJs who just want new modern gear that's got the feel that they're used to from turntables are far more likely to prefer the Rev 7. So really just down to how you want to use it. Party, open format, scratching, turntablism, the Rev 7 might be better. General DJing, clubbing, club DJing and so on, you might be better off with this, or the, as I say, the DDJ 1000, which is the Rekordbox version rather than the Serato version of this. This is from Scott, who says, can I stop the white noise on my KRK Rockets? I'm using a Numark FX Platinum controller. Is there a connector I could use? If it's just white noise, if it's just then no, you can't stop it. It's just how it is. If it is buzzing, if it's hum, if it's electrical hum, yes, you can stop it. It can be quite tricky. You can buy devices to plug in, which will help to stop that. Or you can just try plugging your speakers into a different socket in your room. And sometimes that is enough to get rid of that electrical hum that's being introduced somewhere. So try that. Ask your questions, please. They're all coming in through here on my screen, so I'm going to answer as many as I can. I am using the Rane Mark II, says someone on Facebook, and I want to buy the controller. What would be the best one? I'm using the Rane what Mark II? Tell me what you're using and I can probably help you a little bit better. A lot of you just talking about your gear. I mean, that's what we started talking about, isn't it? And you're just saying you like it. You're enjoying your gear, so that's cool. So what do you think of using turntables compared to using a controller, says Kofi Wilson. What do I think about using turntables as opposed to a controller? Well, let's talk through a few of the advantages and disadvantages. Turntables are how DJing has always been done, right? You've got a record collection and you want to DJ, then turntables are the only way you're going to play those records, right? So if that's you, then hey, why not? If you've got a big record collection and you also want to play digital files, then turntables can also be a good idea, especially if you already own them, because you can plug in your DJ software to any what's called DVS enabled mixer. Basically any modern mixer that has got a audio interface in it will do it more often than not. And then you can not only play records, but you can also press a switch at the top of the mixer and play your digital files as well, even in the same set if you want to, which makes it great. And we just talked about it. If you're a scratch DJ, then you might just find the idea of having a turntable is more natural to you and more authentic in what you want to do. Although even then, you don't have to have actual turntables. There's plenty of motorized platter DJ controllers nowadays. So for all those reasons, turntables are good, but turntables are heavy, they're expensive, they break more easily. For most DJs, a controller like this or a standalone DJ setup is definitely the better way to go, because that is going to cost you less money. It's going to use the laptop that you already own, and it's going to give you control over an awful lot of music that you can get digitally. And even then, if you've got a few records that you still want to use, you could always rip them or just buy them again as digital files. Most DJs nowadays are using controllers, or the biggest minority, instead of using controllers with laptops, are using standalone DJ systems. So yeah, controller generally, but there's good arguments going on for using laptops as well. Richard, you're obviously very, very bored. Jog off to somewhere else, please, my friend. We don't need your type round here. So this is from Brian, who says, what's the best feature in Denon which Pioneer doesn't have? Or we really are getting into the wars now between Denon DJ and Pioneer, aren't we? Look, they're both great systems, but I'd say that probably the biggest thing that you find in Denon DJ gear, well, there's two things I'm going to draw your attention to. The first thing is all the streaming services. So you get Tidal, well, all the ones that you can get on DJ software, Tidal, SoundCloud, Beatport and Beatsource, so that's great. But also they've got lighting control built in using a software protocol called SoundSwitch, and that does give you really good granular, deep control over lighting, which is a great thing to have if you are a mobile DJ or you're a DJ that likes to put on a big show and control the lighting alongside your music, because it does some unique stuff you can't do with other standalone DJ gear. So I'd say the two big things are the streaming services and lighting control. Right. Live questions, lots and lots of them coming in here. This is from DJ Stu C, who says, I truly believe that if you're a good DJ, you can use any gear at home, and then you can make the transition to using like the posh gear at other venues when you play out. There is so much content online to pick up tips and tricks. You know, as DJs, we should be curious about using everything. That should be in our DNA. If you can get a DJ app for your phone, you should know how to do it and how to use it. If your friend's got Serato but you use Traktor, you should go and learn their Serato. And you know, I DJ'd. What springs to mind is I DJ'd a gig in a really 5-star hotel. Right? It wasn't a cheap hotel in Cuba. Oh, this was 20 years ago, but they asked me to play a set there because they found out I was a DJ, so and so. So I went down to have a look at what they'd got, and they had cassette players, a few old scratch CDs, and some turntables that were kind of like being used as coat stands. And I'm like, how can I DJ here? But I did. You know, the point is we should be happy to step up and have a go on anything, because you never know when you're going to be asked to DJ, and you never know when you're going to get a chance. Someone's not turned up. If you can do it, you've got a USB in your pocket, it might just be that lands you the residency you've been spending years trying to get, right? So yes, be curious, and yes, as you say, there's lots of resources out there. We have got, if you want to DJ on CDJs, I'm going to give you something now that if this is the only thing you take from this hour, it's going to be worth every second of your time. If you are a controller DJ and you want to DJ on CDJs, and you are scared about going into the DJ booth to use equipment like the CDJs I have here, then we've got your back. Head over to Digital DJ Tips and look for an article. I won't search this time. I'm actually just going to click on tutorials at the top, and you'll see all our recent tutorials. And one of our recent tutorials is a complete guide to switching from DJ controllers to CD. Now this is the stuff that you need to know if someone's asked you to DJ in a club on CDJs. We cover here everything that's different. We cover how to prepare your music. We cover how to get set up. We cover what you're going to find when you get to the DJ booth. We cover how to deal with problems when you get to the DJ booth, how to convert your library and give you performance tips and so on. But even better than all that, we give you a free video manual. And that video manual is 2 hours long. And that is me talking you through every single knob, every single button, every single feature and function on the CDJs. By the end of that 2-hour tutorial with me, you will know everything you need to know to DJ on these. So alongside that free tutorial I just showed you on Digital DJ Tips, it'll get you ready. So yes, there are lots and lots of tips and tricks and resources out there to get you ready to DJ on CDJs. And we've got one of the best. So do take a look at that. As I say, it's completely free. Right, live questions, people. We're here till the top of the hour and there's lots and lots of questions coming in. Craig says, hi Phil, I'm managing to briefly catch you today. It's great that you're back. Well, thank you, Craig. I've been catching up recently with your streams. I don't have much time for DJing right now as I'm off away for a break this weekend. Oh, good to hear that. But I can tell you that you and the community are already inspiring me and giving me renewed energy, respect. Well, thank you for that, Craig, and enjoy your break for sure. So let's grab just hello, a few hellos. Dr. Clara on on Twitch has escaped work to tune in, so that's cool. Fact. Well, we were talking earlier about fuzzy key mixing. So Fact says, does Engine OS do fuzzy key mixing? Yes, Engine has got key shift, which is all you need to do it. Read the article and it will make sense. So thank God someone erased that hater, says Tom Ash. Yeah, you always get one. And those are the kind of people that don't know the single most important rule of DJing. Being nice won't make you a good DJ. Unfortunately, it won't. Being nice won't make you a good DJ. But I'll tell you one thing, I have never, and I've been doing this for 40 years, I've never met a good DJ who isn't also a thoroughly nice person. So I'll leave it at that. This is from Christopher. I'm using a Denon MC2000. I found recently my 1-volume channel fader seems to jump by itself without touching it. Possibly it's been affected by vibrations and so on. My equipment is usually in a flight case. Is this something mechanical that can be fixed, or is it time to replace the controller? It could be fixable. If you get some of that electrical contact cleaner that comes in an aerosol with a long thin straw that you can squirt in and then quickly move the fader up and down a few times like this. So you'll squirt the cleaner in there. Don't just use WD-40 because that will make it better for a little while and then it'll get worse again. But put some electrical contact cleaner in there and then just go like this like 100 times. Then you might just find it cleans that up and then it works again. But if not, it might be time to have a look at a new controller. The MC2000 was a wonderful controller, but it's getting old now, as I'm sure you know, Christopher. Hello, Lisa. Lisa says, it's good to have you back. It's good to see your smiling comment there as well, Lisa, so thank you for that. So the SHO is saying, thank you for all the website tips and tricks. Well, look, we are the biggest DJ website by a long shot. Literally 5,000 articles we've written over the years. So do come and have a look at the website. Have a dig through there. You could be stuck there for months catching up on the stuff we've done. This is from Filippo DMC, who says, hi Phil, I realised that I asked on YouTube, I'm copying, that's all right. Oh, you copied the question into Facebook. Oh, aren't you good? Well, anyway, you didn't need to because I've got you here. So I recently got a gig for a wedding. I asked them if there were some must-play songs and they came up with 65 songs. My set will last for 3 hours. I was wondering what you think about this. I know the couple, but I still think it's a bit too many requests. Yeah, I know what you mean. I would say to them, well, you asked the wrong question. What you should have said is, give me your 10 must-play songs, right? So I think now what you need to say to them is, okay, can you divide these into must-play and would be good to play, right? So they can still leave you with the whole list, but then you can get a sense of the ones that you ought to play for sure. So I would do that. And the other thing to do is say, please give me a list of your must not play songs, because that's going to give you a really good idea of the kind of areas that you shouldn't be going in, as well as maybe there's 1 or 2 songs, you know, Dad's favorite song, and unfortunately Dad, you know, died last year or something, you know, those little things that you could never guess. So ask them for that list, but also, you know, if they're all country songs, then you know, better not play country music, you know. Yeah, ask for that list as well. But ask them to divide the one they've given you into must play and, you know, what are your 10 must plays out of that 65, please, would be the next question, I think, to kind of get out of that little thing. So this is from Steve, who says, hey Phil, any recommendations on a radio transmitter for making in-ear monitors wireless? No, I've got no recommendations on that at all. There are now wireless, very low latency headphones made by a company called III, and you can read about those on Digital DJ Tips. Head over to the website and guess what you're going to type. Well, you need to know how to spell III, don't you? So it's AI. Type that in at the top and you will see the TMA2 Studio Wireless headphones. These are Richie Hawtin, no less, co-designed, and they're designed to let you DJ without a wire between your headphones and your DJ gear, because this little box you can see here in the middle of the screen plugs in to your DJ controller and transmits to the headphones. They're really good, but I don't know of a equivalent system that works with IEMs. In other words, a system that hasn't actually got the headphone bit as well. I'm sure something exists, so if someone wants to help us out in the comments, I will try and read that out before we get to the end of today's show. So we're past halfway, can you believe that? Listen, if you're enjoying this, the easy thing to do, which I'd like everyone to do, is just hit that like button. But if you are really enjoying it and you want to pass the love on, it really helps us if you can share it or cut and paste and post it on your socials or whatever. So whatever you can do, whatever platform you're on and whatever you're comfortable doing, now is when I always ask for you to do that because it helps. I also want to tell you how you can get a free copy of this. So this is in all good bookstores. You can go and plonk yourself down on their easy chairs and read this book for free with my blessing. I don't mind that because I don't even mind you having the book for free. So how are you going to get your free copy of this? Well, if you've been listening, you're going to know that it's going to involve the Digital DJ Tips website. Head over to the Digital DJ Tips website, and at the top, you'll see the words, the book. Click on the book and you'll find here the contents. This is the complete book that I'm holding in my hand at the moment, including all the videos which you have to link out from the book to see. They're all embedded here. You can also download a PDF of the book from here. And so this is a really good place to read our guide to DJing, which is not only the best way to learn DJing, that goes through the 5 big areas: gear, the techie stuff, techniques, music, performing and promoting yourself, and you need all 5. It goes through all 5 areas, which are also taught in our complete DJ course, by the way. So we've got the book, but we've also got me teaching you what's in the book with video and so on. So those 5 areas, you're going to come across them again and again. Not only will it give you that, but it's also the best thing to read before diving into the website and learning all the other stuff we've got, because this is the basis that everything we've ever done is built on. So do go grab your copy of the book. It's free. Get it from the Digital DJ Tips website. Right, questions. Let us continue. We continue, as Pete Tong would say. Konstantinos, where can I get some consulting on adopting a stage name? So adopting a stage name, well, you're in the right place. I can help you. If you are someone who plays music in a certain genre or style, or in a certain circle where the fashion's important, and you know your name is John Smith and that's not going to cut it, then it's a good idea to have a stage name. Now we've got articles on how to do that. I'm not going to show you. You know what to do. Digital DJ Tips, choosing a DJ name, type it into that search box. But also a really good place to test out your names and to see if the names you've chosen are any good is on the Digital DJ Tips Facebook group. Now our Facebook group is it's one of our best kept secrets, really, and it's a place where you can hang out with people just like you who are learning to DJ, but in a very non-threatening, very helpful environment. So you're not going to be with trolls and people like that idiot who we had to kick out of this chat earlier. You're going to be with people like us, like you. Now Digital DJ Tips Facebook group is an easy place to find. Go to Facebook as we are here and type in Global DJ Network and click on it and you'll be in. Now you might have to click at the top here to join, because you get asked a couple of questions and then we'll let you in manually to make sure that it is nice people in here. But this is a really good place to ask anything. Look, school discos, age 5 to 11. What are you playing? There's 50 comments already on that post that only came in today. How useful is this stuff? There we are, live at the moment. But this is a place where our DJs share triumphs, questions, challenges, and yes, sometimes share disasters. It's a lovely community to hang out in. And like I say, it's got none of the politics and idiocy that you find in public communities. And this is a great place to ask what people think of your DJ name. And you'll get some very honest and helpful responses. So come up with a DJ name and post in here and get your responses. Oh look, someone's asking about a pair of speakers there. Funnily enough, they're the exact speakers that I'm using in the studio here right now. Here they are, little IK Multimedia iLoud speakers. They're very, very good. And we have a very busy desk here, so I use them because they're tiny. We're live and I'm here to answer your questions for the next 20 minutes or so. So I'm going to keep trawling through that list. Listen, if you ask your question on Facebook, you will get a response even after we've gone off air today, because we try and get through and answer all those questions afterwards. So Facebook's the best place to do it, but hi YouTube and hi Twitch people as well. So Thomas, what's your thoughts, Phil, on smaller devices for backpacks or for switching to USB plus headphones, especially for DJs who need to fly with the recent chaos and lost luggage? Losing something like the Prime 4 in an airport sounds like a nightmare. Right, I'm going to run off camera, he said, running to the other side of the studio. Thankfully, the microphone stays around my neck so you can still hear me talking. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to pull out, and some of you who are regulars will know exactly what I'm pulling out here. This. This is my go-to for that kind of gig, for the kind of gigs where you're carrying stuff in a backpack, on the plane, in cabin luggage. It's the Denon DJ Prime Go. And I'm going to very carefully put it on top of the CDJ, sorry, the DDJ, and show it to you. So this is a tiny self-contained DJ controller. It's got Engine DJ built in, which means you don't need a laptop. It's got Wi-Fi built in, which means you can DJ off all the streaming services. It's professional. In other words, it's metal build. Everything about it is professional. And you can DJ literally anywhere on this, carrying it with you and not having to put it in hold luggage. For those of you that know me, you'll know that I once, last summer, spent the whole summer touring around Europe with this, doing live streams from crazy places, up mountains, lakes in the middle of nowhere, anywhere I could get a signal on our pretty good 5G router. Normally it was 4G, which came with me as well. Everything was battery powered, and we had a lot of fun DJing all over the place with one of these. I thoroughly recommend the Prime Go from Denon DJ, but you could equally use a small, if you're carrying a laptop with you as well, it's equally possible to use a small controller. And what have we got here that could potentially work for you? I mean, something like this. The little DDJ 200 from Pioneer. It's a very, very basic controller. It's also a very small controller. You go even smaller and take something like this. The little Numarks. I mean, these all work. But one of my favorites is this one here. And I'll tell you why. This is the little Reloop Buddy. And what I like about the Reloop Buddy is it's got pretty much all the controls that you would need on the pads, all the proper performance pad functions. It's got looping, it's even got stems separation, so you can separate the vocals and the music from the drums and stuff. And it's got this slot at the back, and that's because, yes, it does work with a laptop, but it's really designed to work with Algorithm's iPad software. So I don't know about you, but when I go away, I don't like to take a laptop with me. I think it's probably because I use a laptop or a big computer at work all the time. I just take an iPad. Now I can take that, and I've got something that I can DJ on by slotting my iPad in the back. I really like that. These cases, by the way, that you're seeing on stuff are by a company called DeckSaver. DeckSaver give us the cases and say, you know, if you can just use them in your live streams, and we very, very happily do that because they're brilliant and they really do. You know, you could stamp on that and it wouldn't break. So I'm very happy to endorse them. They don't pay us, but they give them to us and I use them. You probably saw how battered the one was on the Prime Go down there. Without doubt, that case is the reason why that Prime Go is still working after me using it in all kinds of places over the last couple of years. Yeah, so there's lots of little controllers. If you want a controller, I like the Reloop Buddy. And if you want a standalone, really, the Prime Go is in a class of its own, battery powered as well, which is pretty cool. Let's grab another live question. And before we do, I just want to thank our wonderful audience because you're always helping each other out. And I always say this, I get to about, you know, now, where are we? We're quarter of an hour left, 3/4 of the way through our hour's live show. And I'm just watching you all helping each other out. You know, we've got actual brand names being given for contact cleaner, Contact PR with a K, Contact PR spray, by the way, is the one that's being recommended there. And just lots and lots of you all helping each other out and giving pieces of advice. It's great to see. This is from DJ Pac-Man. I'm throwing my own salsa dancing social next Saturday with some friends. I've not got a lot of experience with that genre, but I've played a few tracks before at some gigs. Just let the tracks play out, especially if people are actually dancing to them, because they'd expect to hear the whole song. Don't try and, you know, mash them up and do live edits and stuff. It's not appropriate when you're playing Latin dance music of that type anyway. Cool Fang Garen is pointing out that there are magnets that you can put around your cables that can help. And actually, I don't know, because I've forgotten, whether these little blocks are similar to what you're saying, designed to stop hum. I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure it's coiled up in there. One of those little things that's that I never knew, and then I looked it up once and confirmed it, and now I've forgotten again. I'm sure someone is going to tell me, but I'm pretty sure your cables that have got these on are anti-hum cables. They're designed to kind of stop that kind of thing. Cool, there we go. So the show says I'm a big fan of the CDJ 3000s, but I've not seen your review yet. We've got a full review as well, written and video, as well as our guide. So go take a look at those. What are some of the things you can do when you're not changing songs and the music is, oh, I love this question. I love this question. What are some of the things you can do when you're not changing songs and the music is playing? I don't just want to stand and act like I'm simply changing songs. I'm a beginner. What a great question. And it's one of those things people don't mention, but it really is worth mentioning. You know, you've mixed one song in, you're DJing away, you've mixed one song in, you've hit play, it's off going. What do you do next? Do you stand there? Do you cue the next song up and wait, and then, you know, 3 minutes later, bang, there's that done. Step back, job done, and then do that again and again, and the rest of the time you're stood like that? It's something that you're probably going to worry about more than actually happens, because when you think about it, when you've chosen another great song, when you've lined it up, you can be doing all kinds of things. You can be just teasing it in. You can be just rehearsing it in your headphones to make sure it's going to sound right. And then you might change your mind and put another one on. Nowadays, a lot of mixing styles are very, very quick. And so you won't have much time between tracks. But also, when you're DJing in public, there are distractions. You might end up wishing that you hadn't asked that question, because actually you find you haven't got 2 seconds to yourself. You've got people wanting to come in the DJ booth. You've got people giving you their coats to put underneath and to give back to them. You've got people asking for requests. You've got people, your friends wanting to come in and stand with you for a bit. And you've got more of a worry about what to play next than you have at home. You know, you're watching the dance floor and thinking, I'm going to play that, but I'm not sure now. I'm not sure if that's the right thing to play. And so you change it and stuff. So what I think is a trap is that DJs end up, you know, taking the bass out, whoa, and banging it back in again, or even worse, pretending to be doing this stuff just so that they don't feel so stupid. The truth is, as long as you're having fun, as long as you're moving with the music, as long as your shoulders are down and you're just obviously enjoying yourself, hey, everyone out on that dance floor isn't looking for stuff to do with their hands, they're just dancing. So have a bit of a dance, enjoy your music. Let your shoulders down, move a bit. You won't feel like that at the beginning because your nerves will be all you can feel, but no one can see your nerves. And one of the big rules of DJing is if you can fake it, and I don't mean faking being a DJ, but if you can smile and if you can make yourself move and look like you're not nervous, even though you really are dying inside, it's not long before the inside disappears and actually you're happy. So you can kind of push that, you can force that along by just relaxing a bit, telling yourself to relax, telling yourself to look relaxed even if you don't feel it. But what a great question. Thank you, Talc Mixing. Let's grab another live, well, it's just a general question this. Would you DJ a wedding if asked? I have been asked to DJ a wedding personally this year. It's happening in a couple of weeks actually, and my friend whose wedding it is borrowing some of our gear to give to his DJ because I said no bloody way. You know, you've got to be serious if you're a wedding DJ. Wedding DJing is you in charge of the entertainment at probably the most important day in the life of two people, and you don't want to mess that up. You know, we've got a course on wedding DJing called the Mobile DJ Blueprint, and the Mobile DJ Blueprint, by the way, it's education time again now. If you want to know how to find our courses, because we are the world's leading DJ school. We've got 26 courses made by people like Jazzy Jeff and Layback Luke, and no one else comes close. But go to DJ courses at the top of the website, click on there and you'll come to the homepage for the DJ courses. And down here you'll find them all. Have a browse, have a look. There's Jeff's course, there's DJ Angelo's course, there's James Hype and Layback Luke and all our wonderful tutors. But the course you want to go down and have a look at, in fact it's at the top, is this one here, the new Mobile DJ Blueprint. This teaches how to be a great mobile and wedding DJ. But it's a big course and there's an awful lot in here. And the reason for that is you shouldn't take DJing weddings lightly. It's something that you need to know what you're doing and you need to put the practice in, and you need to have visited weddings where DJs are playing and studied them, and maybe even worked with a DJ doing a wedding as well, so that you can get it right. So in answer to your question, no, I would not DJ a wedding. I've done them plenty of weddings before, but it's not something I do now. And I think it's one of those skills that you need to keep polishing. You can't just walk into a wedding and do a good job of it without a lot of practice and preparation. There are high octane but high paid gig your wedding, for sure. Right, our live questions, I'm going to answer a few more before we have to go today. This is from Larry Hamilton Senior. Hello, Larry. And Larry says, different question today. I know you have video courses on Serato DJ and you also have the same for mastering the DDJ 1000 SRT. But do you have a video for adding a DDJ XP2 in addition to a DDJ 1000 SRT? So this is a DDJ XP2. This is a controller that gives you extended control of what you see on the pads here, right? And the idea is this, you normally mount this somewhere like that, right? On a special stand, and then you can use this to control different pads and different things to the ones that you've got control of down here. It works with rekordbox and Serato, and it's a great little device. And in answer to your question, no, we haven't. We've never done some training on that. Most of our training, how to DJ, how to produce, how to run a DJ business, it's not about gear. We do have software courses, Serato, Traktor, rekordbox, because software is very complicated. And again, knowing your software isn't going to make you a good DJ, but every good DJ knows their software or their system. We don't tend to have courses on using hardware. We've got one or two on the very, 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 very biggest pieces of hardware. But the rest of that stuff we do for free, and you'll find it on our YouTube channel. Just in the same way that I told you we've got the free course on how to use the CDJ 3000. Others will charge you for this kind of thing, but I know in my heart that that stuff, being able to just know what every knob and button does on that is not going to make you a better DJ. I don't want you to pay for that. I want you to finish a course with us, walk out the other end and say, I'm now a better DJ and I can prove it. Unless you're getting that, we don't want your money. We want you to look at our free stuff, read our free guides, take our free tutorials. So yes, we do have stuff that teaches you how to use hardware, but it's all for free. It's all on our YouTube. That said, we haven't got an XP2 tutorial. Maybe we can get around to doing one of those. Thanks for that, Larry. Right, we're gonna now just take maybe 2 or 3 more questions before I have to go for today. Lissy Music on Twitch says, I just wanted to let you know that you've helped me so much with your articles. Thank you. Oh, you're very welcome. Now, a couple of you have asked in the comments about why this has been set up for the last couple of times we've been live. It's been here for over a week now. I'll tell you why. I'll let you into a little secret as to why I've got this set up. I'm currently recording some tutorials with this on our for our training platform, and these tutorials are all about how to. I can maybe even show you. There we go. There's my Serato waveforms over the top there. And this is the view that a lot of you are going to be very, very familiar with, right? But you're sat there now saying, yes, I know that view. Some of you will be. That's because that view you just saw there is the view that you get in our courses. And we're making a course at the moment, not only with Serato, of course, Traktor, rekordbox, Denon stuff, USBs, we cover the lot, but I happen to be filming some Serato tutorials at the moment. The course we're making at the moment is called Mixing for Wedding and Mobile DJs. Mixing for Wedding and Mobile DJs. And it's about using the radio versions of records from now, the noughties, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, radio versions, just the version you can get on Tidal. Radio versions to DJ with. Teaching you how to mix properly like a club DJ, but using standard version. The ones that everyone wants to hear. No one wants to hear your cool remix that's easy to DJ with. They want to hear the one they know, right? So we're making a course about how to DJ properly using just the radio versions, just that 3-minute version that you can find on Tidal and Spotify and Apple Music and on the radio, and that everyone else knows who isn't a DJ and doesn't care about this stuff. And it's really, really good fun. We're having a lot of fun making this course. And the idea is, there's a lot of mobile DJs who don't mix. They are line, this is the way they mix. They are line DJs. They are not mixing DJs. And normally with a microphone in the hand as well, right? So, with the line thing going on, right, that was Take On Me by a-ha. Now it's time for a bit of Harry Styles. Look, when your crowds, when the couples who are getting married that you've been booked to play at their wedding were brought up with big room EDM DJs, mixing stuff, went to festivals when they met, And, you know, they don't want a DJ at their wedding who can't mix music. But the problem is doing it at a wedding, doing it at a party or a corporate event using the open format, all kinds of music, R&B, hip hop, house, pop, oldies, rock, disco, funk. And doing the kind of mixing you hear DJs doing in a club is actually harder than just beat mixing house or beat mixing techno or whatever. It's actually harder. And so if you're a DJ that's never mixed and you're seeing the best DJs playing weddings and playing parties and so on, who are doing all this stuff, it can seem impossible, right? Impossible that you could ever learn to put the microphone down and just mix properly, but you can. And of course, who can teach you that? The people who've been teaching it for decades and doing it for decades. So we've got a new course called Mixing for Wedding and Mobile DJs. It's coming in a couple of months. We're in the middle of filming it now. We're having a lot of fun doing it. So do watch out for that. Right, so course talk out the way. Let's get that final promised couple of last questions. So says DJ G Gaps on Twitch, I'm still using my 1200 turntables with my Zone 92 mixer and my Rane SL4 for DVS. Yeah, we were talking about earlier. 2 turntables, a mixer set up so you can use your laptop with it. Got it. I recently added my Traktor Pro 3 program. Right, so you're switching to Traktor. I debated if I should add a Traktor X1 Mark II or wait for a new Mark III version. Right, okay, so this is a really good question. If you are using, let's say I had a pair of turntables here with my old mixer, right? This has got crossfader, up and down, 2 tone controls, that's about it, right? And I bought the little box that allows me to use my turntables and my mixer with a modern setup, and I'm looking for my little box here. It is. So what you do is you buy one of these. This is a DVS interface, and you plug your mixer into it, and you plug your turntables into it, and you plug your computer into it. And this lets you use any old mixer and any old turntables. Then all you need is a couple of pieces of control vinyl. This is control vinyl. It's got computer code on it that work with your particular DJ software, and you can spin digital stuff on turntables. We've already talked about it. The question is, this DJ has switched to Traktor and wants to know whether they should buy an extra little controller. And a little controller could be something like this. Why? Because the DJ software has got loads of features and functions that your turntables and old-fashioned mixer can't possibly have. It's got cues and loops and effects and different ways of triggering things that are all tied to the pads and the buttons and the knobs, which of course, if you haven't got those buttons and knobs, you can't do. And so it is a good idea if you've got old-fashioned turntables and a mixer and you're using it with DVS with just a little audio interface like this, it is a good idea to get some extra controls. And the question is specifically about the Traktor X1 Mark II, which I don't have here, but it's a long, thin controller with those extra controls for Traktor. No, I would get that one. I don't think there'll be a Mark III coming soon, if ever. So I would get that one if it was me. And by the way, I've got no insight on that. I might be wrong. That's just a hunch. So no problem with that. DJ Bassman says it's good to see a DDJ 1000 on the desk. I've been using one for some time and it does everything that I need totally. I actually have a DDJ 800 for smaller working areas, which works brilliantly as well. Cool, so lots and lots of love there for this controller. It is a bit of a classic nowadays, this one. I mean, it's not new at all, but it is a bit of a classic. So a lot of you showing sympathy for who we were talking to earlier, whose name escapes me. I'm sorry, my friend, about having a list this long of must-play tracks given to you by a client. This is from Ryan, who says, I've had many wedding clients who send me 300 plus songs they want me to play, and worse, they'll be in a Spotify list. What usually happens is I end up playing what the crowd wanted. Well, you know, it's a fine line to walk, but as long as you don't forget to play the one song the bride or the groom were really expecting you to play, then you're all right, I would guess. DJ Filthy174 on Twitch says, good morning, Phil. I finished DJ Jazzy Jeff's Digital DJ Tips course, and I'm now working on your complete DJ course. Thank you. Well, you're very welcome. I hope you're enjoying that. Do say hello in the course. One thing about our courses, the tutors are in there daily helping the students out, so do say hello. Test me on that. Say, hey, Phil, it's me from the live comments, and you will see me getting back to you within a day or so, maybe a couple of days, if it happens to be the weekend. Right, our final question for the day. This is just a comment, this one, before we will do one more question, but just a comment from Craig, who says, one client put no cheese when I asked for not play songs. Yeah, you know, one thing you find when you're a professional DJ and when you've got clients who pay you is a lot of people cannot talk about music in a literate way, in the way we do. They don't know artists, they don't know music types and genres. So they'll say, oh, just play stuff that'll get people dancing, but no cheese. You know, so you've got to know how to dig, and you've got to know how to kind of like get the answers you want and keep pushing until you actually find real information out of people. So my final question then is from DJ John Roback, who says, hi Phil, do you have an opinion on in-ear monitors, basically posh headphones that go in your ears like earbuds, versus using proper like over-ear headphones like these, right? So in-ear monitors are the ones that they're still wired for DJs, but they go in your ear, you don't have a headband. The difference is you leave them in. You put them in at the beginning of your gig. I mean, lots of our DJs use them. James Hype uses them, Laid Back Luke uses them. You put them in and you leave them in, and you plug them into your DJ gear, and that's you. It's got advantages. You don't need speakers in the DJ booth because you're doing it all in your ears. It's got disadvantages. If you're used to DJ with your headphones on and then taking them off so you can chat to people, it's not going to work with IEMs. They're quite fiddly to get in and out. You know, it's like put them on, goodbye everyone, this is me doing my DJ set. Now that might be an advantage to you. This is me doing my DJ set. When you finish, you take them out and you talk to the world again. Your DJ gear needs to be set up to work with in-ear monitors, and most controllers aren't. So what you need is a switch here that says split Q. And what that means is when you press the Q button to listen in your headphones to something the audience isn't hearing, that's what these buttons do, it will go into one ear. The other ear will carry the master, which is what the audience is hearing. And that way it kind of, in your ears, does what happens normally when you've got headphones and speakers, because you put one headphone off, one headphone on, you put your other ear near the speaker. So really you've got what the audience is hearing in this ear and what you're queuing up in this one. And that's what that split Q button does. It does the same thing, but in your headphones, or rather in your in-ear monitors in this case. So you DJ in a different way, but you need that button. Without that button, you can still kind of do it because this kind of gear has got a knob on it that mixes all your headphones from what these buttons are playing to what the crowd is hearing, but it's a bit more fiddly. So I would say if your DJ gear has got a split Q button and you don't mind listening to what you're doing 100% and not talking to anyone while you're DJing for your hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever, in-ear monitors might be good. They're certainly good if you play in venues that have rubbish monitoring, but I think most DJs still are happiest using headphones. I'd say learn on headphones, and then if you decide you want to switch to in-ear monitors, they can be very good for protecting your hearing as well, because they isolate your ears from all the noise in the club, and then you control the volume. As long as you keep the volume lowish, you control the volume in your ears. Right, people, we have to go. All good things must come to an end. Thank you to everyone who's asked questions. I'm going to ask you now to hit those likes and hit those loves if you found this useful. If you've learned one thing in this hour that's helping you in your DJing, then I've done my job. So please do that. It does help us to know we're doing a good job. Loads more live shows coming your way. Listen, if you are a Digital DJ Tips course owner, and I've shown you where to get our courses, you can join us 24/7 in your Student Hub Facebook group, where we also, as you know, have lots of live classroom lessons. But for everyone, student or not, you can join me on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. London, 10 a.m. Eastern for Tuesday Tips Live, when we talk about a big piece of DJ news or a new piece of gear or a skill. And every Thursday at this time, at least in school term time, that's how we run it, when we will talk everything, just like we've done today. So you get 2 hours a week with me for free on our Facebook, YouTube and Twitch. I hope you've enjoyed it today. All that's left for me to say is do grab your free copy of the book, go to Digital DJ Tips and click the book at the top of the page to get your book and to download a PDF to keep as well. Can't say fairer than that. It's also a Kindle book and it's also an audio book, so you can get it in all those places and you can buy it in bookstores. But hey, go grab a copy on us. As I said a little bit earlier on, we want to give you the basics for free, so you come back and buy a course from us to get really good, right? We want to make you, if you're going to spend money on a course, we want you to be really good at the end of it, right? So have the basics on us. So digitaldjtips.com, if you just put /join, after that URL, you'll go directly to a page where you can get all this good stuff. So do that. But until next Tuesday and the next live show, get good, get out there and make the moments. I'll see you very soon.